Does China want to export its model to the developing world as an alternative to Western liberal democracy? I mean, you've spoken very passionately and in glowing terms about the benefits of the Chinese approach. So I guess it leads me to wonder, well, is this something that you'd like to see the rest of the world embrace for their own progress and develop, and maybe for China's interests also?
In fact, one striking difference between Chinese culture and Western culture in general is we don't have this messianic tradition to convert others. The Chinese philosophy is, yes, if our model is great, and we'll be more than happy to share our experience, features our Chinese model with you, but we never try to impose this model on others. We will say you can refer to our model if necessary, but if you're not interested, we do not care much about it. So this is a very open-minded attitude towards this what's called a China model. It's very different from the American approach. American believe that their model is the best and imposed on others, whether by espionage or by missiles. We don't have this tradition. So Chinese is age-old civilization, perhaps slightly more sophisticated. We think eventually each and every nation should find its own way to success, which will be different from others. But once you are successful or relatively successful, many other countries will look to you for some kind of help or even guidance. That is happening. In Africa, you see this slogan called looking east, looking to China. But that's not something China imposed on others. We're not interested. But indeed, if we share experiences and what we call the selective learning, Chinese have learned so much from the West, but selectively, not blindly copy the Western system. That will be okay. Yeah.
And how would you respond to those, including Mike Pompeo, you brought him up earlier in our conversation, who point to the One Belt, One Road initiative as an exercise to export more than just economic prosperity ostensibly to the participating countries that will be part of that global infrastructure system that China is leading to build really across your region, across Asia into Europe, that in fact has a political dimension, that it has ideas embedded in it around governance and how societies should organize themselves?
Well, this BRI initiative is at this moment the world's largest, you may say, public goods offered by China. It's based on, I think, a very positive principle. It's called the discussing together, building together, benefiting together. You, out of your own interest to join this project, China does not force you to join it. Behind this is a huge gap in the developing world with rich countries. There is a huge shortage of infrastructure, from roads, railways, airports, to all kinds of telecommunications, IT technologies. Yet, for many, many decades, international institutions, many of them are dominated by a Western approach, somehow ignore this huge demand for developing countries. So China come to feel this kind of gap, which is on the whole well received by most countries. I hope that the other countries will also join. Actually, some European companies, some American companies also join these projects. It's indeed a platform. And of course, in the process, certain countries say, well, come to help us because you have a great idea of these industrial zones. Can we also learn something to set up some zones here in our country? And China tried to help. And also China is good at make plans. Some country will say, well, help us with the planning. Actually, these are open for all countries, but China somehow is appreciated by other countries for that. So if you think this is expansion of Chinese political role, why not? So this is only normal. It's between states on sovereign rights. China respects their sovereignty. China does not impose its view on other countries. So this is also business as well. Yeah. So I don't see any problem with that. Don't politicize everything. One secret of China's success is in the West, it's started with the British, what we call the divide and rule. You always have good guy, good country, bad country, then opposing each other. The Chinese philosophy is unite and prosper, whether within China, in the international community. We said to Africans, unite, African unity, we support. Southeast Asia, ASEAN, unite, the more united, the better. So this is not the mentality of a colonialist, imperialist. This is the mentality of international community.